We met 2.5 years ago, roughly. We were both at shitty places in our lives. I was freshly out of a relationship and still healing. He was also trying to get over other people still. Initially, neither of us was expecting to start dating. We met on Tinder, and honestly, I thought it was going to be a one night stand. I don't exactly remember what happened or why we decided to keep hanging out after, but the bottom line is we hung out nonstop after that night. And about a month in, decided to finally call what we were doing dating. Both of us deleted Tinder a week after meeting each other as well. Everything felt just right. I was going through a lot mentally at the time. And about 5 months in, I started getting daily migraines from the stress. I would need to go to the emergency room for them. I could tell that he would get flustered and almost even frustrated when I needed his help. One of the nights, he left me alone in the emergency room to go get a charger from a friend and picked me up once they had medicated me. I was heavily medicated, so I couldn't speak much once he got back. He just helped me get back to his apartment because I had expressed that I didn't want to be alone at my place. He said it was okay and he was going to stay with me. But I woke up after snapping out of the pain medications and he was gone. I was worried about texting his friends, but nobody replied until the early morning hours, letting me know that he had fallen asleep on a friend's couch. I was confused, but I figured they were partying and he was too drunk to drive back or something. He got back, never really told me anything, and I had enough to deal with on my plate as it was. So I didn't ask too many questions. It is important to mention that a few days earlier before this happened, I found out that my parents wanted me to move back in with them, since they were concerned for my health. This would mean me and my boyfriend could no longer be together since none of us wanted a long distance relationship. I was in college, summer break was coming up, and my parents had been talking about me coming to visit them. But this time, they asked for me to drop out completely and prioritize my health. I guess he took this as a sign that once summer break started, we would break up. That wasn't true, however, because it was still my choice if I was going to my parents or not. And I haven't decided that yet, nor have we talked about what we would do with our relationship. About a week or so after my parents' request, and this whole charger situation, he randomly told me one day he needed space and no longer wanted me to come over or stay at his place. I gave my keys back to him. It was on the same day or the day after that. One of his friends texted me and told me that he had been seeing someone, even before we broke up. The friend showed me screenshots of this girl wearing his clothes and told me they were very sorry. They wanted to let me know because they felt I deserved to know. I was in disbelief. He was always the one telling me how important loyalty was in a relationship, and always the one who said cheating was the worst thing you can do. I didn't want to believe it, but the proof was right in front of my eyes. I tried to confront him and asked if I could come over, but instead, he told me he wanted to talk to me just outside of his apartment as he was skating. Looking back on it now, I don't know why I believed him. But anyway, he ended up denying everything and even got angry at me for suspecting such a thing. I ended up leaving and getting drunk with my friends to try and get my mind off of things. I was texting him the whole time I was drunk for some reason. And he finally admitted that he cheated once. AI jokingly said, "I should probably go get tested," to which he replied, "Yeah, you probably should." I started crying. I couldn't believe it. I decided to go out with my friends, and as luck would have it, we ran into him and this new girl at the bar that we went to. He ended up running away from me, and the friend who previously messaged me about the whole situation saw this and dragged me out with him, screaming that we needed to talk. We ended up in the street, him standing there, his friend, and the new girl. We were all pretty drunk, but he was sitting on the ground, crying, saying he was a monster, and wanted to run in front of a car. I was worried about his well-being at this point, so I just walked him home. We got this to his apartment. I helped him to get in bed, and as I was turning around to leave, the new girl showed up. She said she would sleep on the porch. She didn't know I was staying over. It was raining outside. I wasn't going to let her sleep on the porch. I let her come in, gave her some water, and set up the couch for her to sleep on. I was going to leave as my friend was still waiting for me back at the bar. But I and the new girl ended up talking instead. She was so nice. We figured out that he never told her what happened between me and him, and she didn't know anything. Nothing was her fault, essentially. So we waited for him to wake up. As soon as he did, he decided he could no longer skip work and left us. We ended up spending the day together and figured out everything we needed to figure out. She said she didn't want to get between us, and she was sorry this ever happened. We just were waiting on him to confront him because we were both angry. After a few days of him dodging us and avoiding talking to us, there was a night when all three of us were at his apartment. He had just gotten back from a night out, and me and the girl were there talking. We decided to go through his phone as a joke, saying, wouldn't it be funny if there was a third person involved? Well, we found out that he has been texting several people, including the new girl's best friends, two of them. She started screaming, woke him up, and left very angrily. I was sitting on the floor. I was shaken to my core, honestly. I don't know what I was expecting at this point, but it wasn't this. We were supposed to move in together. I decided I didn't want to go back to my parents. I have told him this, and he has told me that he wanted me to stay just a few days ago. And yet, I want to believe that he wasn't really like this. I blamed it on the other stressors in his life. I still don't know why, but I decided to forgive him. I ended up moving in with him in a few weeks and staying. He stopped talking to his friend group, which was all a part of this, and he eventually removed everyone involved from his social media. Me and the new girl still talk from time to time. I genuinely believe she's a nice person, and I check in on her sometimes if I see she's going through hard times. It has been more than 2 years since this. Me and my boyfriend have been very happy. We got engaged and are planning to get married later this year. I can't stress the fact of how much I love him enough. We have had some significant challenges, non-teaching related, together since, and we have overcome them. I do want to spend the rest of my life with him, but why do I keep thinking about this cheating period over and over again? Recently, my mother went through a similar situation with her significant other and also decided to forgive him. And I got so angry at her. I couldn't believe she was doing this to herself. How could you disrespect yourself this much? And suddenly I thought of myself. Was I doing the same thing? If I ever have a daughter, will she think the same of me? How can I explain to her what her father did? I won't tell her out of the blue. But what if she asks if something like this happens to her? What is she asking? What would I do in the situation? How could I tell her? More importantly, this is making me think I never got over it. Obviously, I didn't. Is our relationship forever tainted? Am I making a mistake in marrying him? For anyone who has been through something similar, how did you work through all the thoughts and all the doubts? Is there something I should do for myself? I don't want judgment. Thank you in advance. I'm sorry for any typos. I am writing this from my phone, and it has been acting up all day.